I think I found the most technologically advanced bike light in the world. Well, maybe. Stay tuned. Aloha everybody, and welcome back to the channel, and thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Cliq bike light. But before we do that, we're going to be talking about bike lights in general, why you should use one, the differences between them, where they should be mounted. If you're looking for the review on this specifically, then take a look below. I have chapter markers that you can just skip to the end if you want to just learn more about this. But I'm going to start off the video with talking a little bit more about just bike lights in general. So let's get started. So let's first talk about why you should use a bike light. Well, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration did a study, and they found that there were 40% more bicycle fatalities between the hours of 6 and 9 p.m. And that makes sense, right? The darker it is, the harder it is to see someone. And so it makes sense that when people are riding their bikes home at night or in the early evening, it's harder to see, and therefore we have more accidents and more fatalities. So why should you use a light? So that you don't get hit. We don't want you to get hit on your way home. All right, let's talk about the differences between the two. So you have front-facing lights, which is kind of like a flashlight. If you're to take a flashlight and on your bike and you're pointing it in front of you so that you can see what's ahead of you, that's what a front-facing light will do. It's usually white. The light stays on continuously, and it just allows you to see what's in front of you. Rear-facing lights are usually tiny, they're small, and they're red. And oftentimes they will either stay on continuously or they will pulse or strobe. All right, front-facing lights will range anywhere from maybe 100 lumens all the way up to 3,000 lumens. And lumens, of course, is a measure of light output, but you don't have to always find the light that has the highest lumens. That doesn't necessarily make it the best light out there or the brightest. You also have to look at how the light is being refracted and the lens that that light sits in and how it's visible, okay? I personally look for something that's about 1,000 lumens. Anything more than that, I mean, if you're going with a really, really bright light, then you also then have to worry about the light getting hot. The light will get hot, as you know, the stronger it is, and then of course the longer it's going to be on, right? And then when you have a light that's 3,000 lumens, that's going to require a pretty decent sized battery for you to be able to use it. And so that's something to consider. Don't necessarily only choose a light just because of how many lumens it has. Also take a look at how the light's being refracted, and then how big it is. You might not want a humongous light on your bike. So keep that in mind. Now for a rear-facing light, you want a light that is going to be much softer as far as lumens go, okay? So we're looking for a light that's anywhere between maybe 50 and 100 lumens at the max. Because again, you want just people to be able to see you. You don't want to necessarily put a huge amount of light in the back of your bike. You're not needing to look in the back of you, right? You need to see in front of you. You need the higher output in the front. So backlights are going to be small, right? They're going to be, and look for something that can maybe have multiple settings in it. Something that can be continuous if you want it to be on 100% of the time, or something that either strobes or pulses. All right, so when should you use a bike light? Well, if you're riding at night, definitely have both front and rear lights. You need to be able to see what's in front of you, and you also want others to be able to see you. But what about during the day? And I'll be honest, like I am one that I've never used a bike light during the day because I've always felt, well, if I can see, other people can see me. And actually that was wrong. As I was doing some research for this video, I found out that if you have a rear flashing light during the day, you are 2.4 times more visible to others compared to someone who doesn't have a light on the back of their bike. Okay, 2.4 times. So to me, that's convinced me enough that I should be using a bike light during the day. So now that you have your bike lights, where do you mount them? Well, the most common and obvious place to mount a front-facing light is, of course, your handlebars. Because wherever your handlebars are pointing, that's where your light is going to go. You can mount it, turn it on, you don't have to worry about it. Some people also like to put a light on the top of their head so that when they turn and wherever they look, they can also see light wherever they're looking. But only have a head-mounted light if you already have one on your handlebar, because the moment you turn, that light all goes in another direction and no one is going to be able to see you. So only have a head mount if you already have a handlebar mount. Now for rear lights, normally the place to put them is either under your seat or on your seat post, or maybe some other place on the back of the bike. Any of those places are fine as long as nothing obstructs the light in any way. Sometimes we might have a jersey, or we might have a jacket, or maybe a backpack, or something that is just covering that seat. Maybe our butts are too big. You don't want something that is going to be covering the light so that no one can see it. So make sure wherever you mount that light in the back, that it is visible when you are riding. So don't just mount it when the bike is sitting there. Mount it, but then check it, ride it, and have someone else look to see if they can see the light behind of you. And then if they can, then you're fine. Now that we've talked about why you should be using a bike light, let's take a closer look at the Cliq and some of its features. All right, one of the cool features of this light is that it has a triple lens system. So it has lenses built in that account for long distances, shorter distances, and a side distance. So it has a really cool pattern. I'll put the graphic up on the screen that shows you what this pattern looks like. But that's something to look for in a bike light. It's not always about how bright something is, but how well light is reflected. And this one's pretty cool. Okay, something that this light also has is it's water resistant. It has an IP67 rating, and it's water, dust, and dirt resistant. And that's something that you want, right? If you're gonna be riding and if you get caught in the rain or you run over some puddles, you want a bike light that's not going to get ruined, and this sucker is protected. Another feature that this light has is that it has a built-in accelerometer, and so that the light can sense when you're braking, and then it gets brighter like a third brake light in a car. How cool is that? That's pretty amazing that that technology is built into this light. Another thing that this bike light can do is that it can sync with other bike lights. So if you were to purchase multiple versions of these, let's say you're in a group that rides every morning or every evening, and there's maybe 5 of you and you each bought this light, you can sync them all up so that everyone's light blinks kind of in the same pattern, which makes it even easier for cars to see you. I mean, that's a really, really cool feature that you don't find in too many lights out there. Now this light can work up to 20 hours on a single charge. It has a built-in rechargeable battery that you can just then recharge with a micro USB plug. And you can also connect this to an app. There's a special app that you can download for Android and iPhone users, and it allows you to customize the blinking pattern or the pulsing pattern in however you want it to. There are at least 3 different settings that you can customize the light to, and that's also a pretty cool feature. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention with the app is that once you connect this to your app, you can also have this thing monitor if it gets moved or maybe possibly stolen. So I guess you turn on that setting, leave your bike, and then if the bike gets moved at all, the app will let you know, hey, your bike's being moved. At that point, it might be a little too late, honestly. I don't know how good of a feature that is. But, if you run someplace, you run into get some coffee at a coffee shop, maybe that might be something that might interest you. So this does have 90 lumens of peak brightness. You have 3 different settings that you can change it to with just a click of a button. And you can also, like I said, customize it in the app, which is pretty cool. All right, this is a distance of 66 feet. It is about 4:30 in the afternoon, and they don't look a whole lot different, but the Cliq is a bigger light, and you can kind of see. So it's a little darker, and the Cliq is a lot brighter. As I zoom in, take a look. That is considerably brighter than the cheaper small one on the right. So let's take a look at what else comes in the box. So you have a set of directions, and then you also have the clips or the mounts that come with it. And so you have, of course, one for your seat post, and it has a little strap that you can make to get that, you know, tight. And then you also have a molly strap that you can use to put this on maybe a backpack or a bag. And then you also have a clip that maybe you can put this, you know, maybe on the back of your pants, some sort of a, you know, it has kind of like just a little clip. All right. And then of course it also does come with a micro USB, which I don't have in the box. I already took it out, and that's how I charged it up ahead of time. Okay. But that's what comes with the light itself. There are other accessories that you can buy if you want to purchase a longer strap or an extra clamp. You can do that on their website at, you know, at a pretty decent price. They're not too expensive, so you can check that out. Another feature that I wanted to point out, and this is going to be hard because my camera is going to autofocus, but come on, let me see. There are 3 different mounting points. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Come on. There we go. All right. So what happens is you can use this clip to position the light either straight, kind of pointed down at an angle, or pointed up at an angle, all depending upon what the angle is on your seat post. So that's kind of cool. That's a feature definitely that not all lights have. You know, I have this cheap one from Walmart, and basically it's just wherever it points, that's where it points. This one though, you can adjust it up or down a little. So that's pretty cool. All right, and that is the Cliq bike light. It is one of the most advanced lights I've ever used. It's not cheap. I didn't mention the price yet. It is $45. You can find it at the link below. I don't get anything from it. I just think it's a cool light. Whether or not you want to pay 45 bucks for a bike light, you know, that's up to you. Hopefully this video can kind of help you make that decision and give you a little bit more info on what this light is all about. But even if you just get a cheap light from Walmart, a flashing light, it doesn't matter if it's this one or this one, 2.4 more times visible on the road than someone who doesn't. So my suggestion is just get a light, okay? You don't have to buy this one. If you do, you learn something more about it, but get a light anyway, because it could maybe save your life. All right. If the video was helpful to you, please consider liking it and subscribing. I try to post a new video each week on all things related to biking. And until next time, take care of one another, be safe, keep riding, and aloha.